what do you do as a ex-pro athlete?
Go into sales.
If I could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, question, Snoop Dogg is always number one answer.
The NFL can end in a tie? Hate that. You're listening to She's the Fan, the sports podcast for the girls who want in on the conversation.
Brought to you by your sports BFF. I'm Heather.
And I'm Abby.
If you're enjoying this podcast, do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening, and maybe share this with a friend. For more sports content, make sure you follow your sports BFF on Instagram and TikTok.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Have I told you that at the office we call chat Tony?
No.
Tony with an I. And which I don't necessarily love calling chat a name. I think that like chat needs to remain title, not a name, if you will.
Like not Alexa.
Yeah, don't wake her. I have one on my
I know. But like I agree. I'm
Yeah,
also
like
really
it's like chat's already like chat's powerful. It doesn't need a name.
I agree with that.
I lobbied for no name. Although when we were, because this was a whole team decision of naming chat Tony, and one of the names that was thrown into the ring was Ellis, and I said,
Nope.
no. And I can't always be the one saying no to everything.
No, but that's definitely a no.
Yeah, so I said, hard no. We'll allow Tony.
Valid reason for saying no too. It's like when you, I imagine, are having children and you're picking names and people are like, what about this one? Or why people don't tell names, because people would be like, nope. I remember going to
Yeah,
school with,
I
whatever.
remember Tony.
Yeah, exactly. We had I have good memories of a Tony, for what it's worth. But Tony.
Yeah, this is a Toni. We reference chat as Tony.
Does Tony have a gender?
That is a person to person decision. One gal, Tony, is a he. Another gal, a she. Some of us, it's it. I
think I say it.
I basically only refer to chat as chat. I don't like it or it. Yeah, like
Yeah. I don't think it's become more than chat or yeah.
I need that boundary in my life because of all the chat psychosis that people are succumbing to.
Oh my God, I feel that. I truly, like, I felt very unprepared for the NHL draft, like my fantasy draft. And I gave it a couple links of like NHL and ESPN articles and then was like, we're going to be drafting in an hour. I'm going to send you who's available and you're going to give me the best options. And we were picking some random ones. I don't think they were bad picks, but I don't know. I'm a little nervous. I did get, oh my God, I'm blanking on names. This is what happens when we have, I feel like Wednesday is like midweek, rough week, always.
There's always something.
7, 8 p.m. And I'm like, what? Brain work?
It's 9 p.m.
It's 9 p.m. I know. We're filming this late tonight. I have Connor McDavid, who's one of the best players in the league. And so it's always fun to have like a big name. So I don't know. We'll see how we go. I made it. I had no idea what I was doing last year and I got second place. So I'm hopeful that it doesn't really matter how I drafted. I'll figure it out.
I mean, we draft on vibes. In this home, not that I drafted, but the times that I have drafted, it's on vibes.
I got one guy from Chicago, Blackhawks. It's like his photo. His name is Tyler Bertuzzi. His photo, like player pic. Bertuzzi. Do you know Bertuzzi?
Did he used to be on the Wings?
Possibly. But his player pic, His player pick is like the most classic. Oh no, but it's a website.
Yeah.
It's like the most classic.
He's at the Blackhawks now?
Yeah, handed a 4-year, $22 million contract last summer in hopes of lengthening their lineup. I don't know if I've ever heard that term, lengthening.
Oh, I mean, this is old news. He left the Red Wings in 2023.
Yeah, well, he just joined the Blackhawks this summer, but I felt like I needed someone on the Blackhawks, and literally this guy's photo is like front tooth completely gone,
Yeah.
just long hair, like, or like hockey hair, true like the most stereotypical, I feel like, hockey photo.
Yeah.
So
Like
kind of need one.
you'd know it if you saw.
So
Um,
vibe.
I think that he has a really cute dog.
I love that. Maybe we can all become dog friends since he's in Chicago. Maybe he can come on the podcast.
Yeah, an
Put
Australian
him in.
Shepherd named Aspen.
Oh, that's cute.
I think this could be old news.
Well, hopefully not. That is a good segue to the bad news. I know.
Sad
A
segue.
bad segue. I feel like we have a variety of segments on this podcast that may or may not ever make their way back. Today's is the bad and the good. The bad news is Lewis Hamilton lost his dog Roscoe this last week. And I definitely cried. It is the time of month that the emotions are high. It is always the time of it is my emotions are always high. But let's be real.
Wait,
But
can we explain to our 7 listeners who Lewis Hamilton is?
yes, Lewis Hamilton is one of the elite Formula One drivers. He's all around just a great guy. I love Lewis. He drives for Ferrari. It was a big deal when he switched over to Ferrari, and Ferrari's known for like the red. If you see red, it's Ferrari. He's
Ferrari
also
red. It's a great nail color also.
it is. Um, we yeah, big Lewis Hamilton fan. More to come on F1. I think we should do more on that. His dog Roscoe was a bulldog, very stereotypical bulldog, who was very well known via social media. He actually became a playable character in Fortnite. He spent time on the paddock, which is part of the racing deal, and he also learned how to skateboard. And then there's been a lot of support for Lewis of other dogs and their owners posting to kind of together, if you will, all these kind of like, we will miss you,
Oh,
Roscoe posts. Yeah. But he had some issues. He was sick. He went in to the vet and then I think just had a rough couple days. But being dog owners, yeah, sad.
hit home.
So hopefully, maybe that means new bulldog puppies in the near future. Who knows?
Roscoe Jr.
Roscoe Jr. Um,
Well, thanks for kicking us off to a sad start there.
it's okay. I have other good news.
Okay.
Also along the lines of dogs. Snoop Dogg is
I wasn't expecting
this
that.
is gonna be the best. This is gonna be the best podcast yet. Snoop Dogg is officially signed on again for the Winter Olympics.
What does that guy not do?
Truly everything.
He's doing
He,
everything. And
my dad asked me the other day, because yes, this is a conversation that we naturally have. If Snoop Dogg has ever skied, and I said I would assume so. And my dad said Martha's probably taught him.
probably. But should we
Look it up.
dog
Yeah, you
skiing?
look that up. Well, I have to say, Snoop Dogg at the Olympics. Snoop Dogg is number one. If I could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, question. Snoop Dogg is always number one answer always for me. Um,
I
but
don't
yeah,
think that Snoop Dogg
ski.
there's nothing immediately coming up about Snoop Dogg skiing. But one of the top questions, which is just hilarious, is why is Snoop Dogg so heavily involved in the Olympics? And the generated answer is Snoop learned the way to get a lot of money is to get white people to see you as friendly. Started with Martha Stewart. Now he's a host on one of the talent contests, which resulted in him cross promotion with the Olympics.
What?
This was just the first thing that came up on, there's no sources checked here. I don't know anything, but Snoop Dogg learned the way to get a lot of money is to get white people to see you as friendly.
He might not be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how I would have answered that question. He well,
Is he
he started
hilarious?
a handful of Olympics ago, and he's done mostly Summer Olympics. Look up if he has ever done the Winter Olympics before. Um, so I know he did the last two Summer Olympics, and the first one was kind of the beginning where, you know, he was doing more of just the commentating, him and Kevin Hart. And I mean, the combo of them talking about all the miscellaneous like events that there are was just pure gold. And then the last most recent Summer Olympics, he actually was more involved in going to the events, trying some of the events. Like they did so much more. Um, what did you find?
Just photos of Snoop Dogg at the Olympics. But yes,
2024.
he did the 2024 Paris Olympics and the
Okay. 2022.
what is this? 2021 Tokyo Olympics, but was it
COVID.
was COVID? That's what was throwing me off
So
is 20.
this would be his first winter.
Yep.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So yeah, we haven't seen Snow Bunny Snoop.
Snow, he's going to be so cold. He's so skinny. He doesn't have any meat on his bones to keep him warm.
The layering, the sweaters,
But yeah, that'll
the
be
top notch.
um
I'm so excited.
but I will miss his commentary on the horses, the dressage and stuff that is so funny.
I think there will be plenty of obscure winter events.
Oh my
And
gosh, like what is the biathlon? Is that
yeah,
that like
where you cross country ski and then shoot things, shoot
yeah,
targets.
shoot.
Yeah.
I don't know much, but I do think that I could have missed my calling doing it.
I can teach you how to cross country ski. Fun fact about me, used to cross country ski race. Another one. What
I don't know that I think that it's a what did I say 2 seconds ago? Missed opportunity. I think we can keep that in the past. It will remain missed. Yeah, I'm
I
not
agree.
gonna.
I did
Yeah.
not enjoy it. Okay, next, we're excited for Snoop. That's good news number one. I have three good news. One bad news, three good news.
Okay, that's a
Second
that's a
good
good ratio
good
of good to
ratio.
bad.
Second good news, which we have to talk about, Bad Bunny headlining the Super Bowl. I love this. I think people either are obsessed with it or are like on the wrong side of history people that are like essentially saying he's not American. Um, I can't do the accent, the Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny. I can't do it.
I can't do
Um,
it.
he is hilarious. I've seen him live once at Coachella, and yeah, performance will be great. John
Have you
Hamm
seen this? Have you seen the oh my gosh, John Hamm loves Bad Bunny and it is
will
hilarious.
definitely will be in attendance.
Yes. Have you seen the video where Bad Bunny like tweaks his knee while he's doing a little dancey dance on stage?
No,
He's just I don't even know what he's doing, but he just, like, tweaks his knee and then kinda, like, is in the middle of performing, and I don't so, yeah, so
He's
celebrities, they're just like us.
That's funny. He's hilarious. One of my favorite clips of him was when he did Saturday Night Live, and he, in his intro, essentially was saying, "You're probably wondering how I'm gonna do this because I don't speak English very well." And he goes, "I do what I want. I do whatever I want." It's just such a good, like, with the accent, with the delivery, so great. So,
I'm excited that it's him doing the halftime show. I'm excited. I did see one, speculation 'cause they, like Apple previewed that, like, teeth photo, you know?
yeah.
Um, and I saw a lot of speculation that it was maybe Miley Cyrus.
I think betting-wise, I heard, like, Adele and then Adele turning it down. Miley would be great because she doesn't
Yeah,
tour, and sh like, Super Bowl would be such a fun thing for her. I will say the NFL is immensely pushing for an international audience. I think I mean, you can continue to grow in the US, but that is truly the untapped
yeah.
market potential, and this is
What a better way.
probably a very smart business decision. And so, yeah,
Yeah,
that's my 2 cents on the business side. Um, but Miley would be great. Adele would also be great. Adele might be a little too, I don't know. She's
I
got the
love
hit.
Adele, and I say this with love, but I think she's too sleepy for
I
the
was gonna say, I think it might be a little too slow.
yeah, not she's not a
She As I say, she could do, you know how they sometimes do the combos where it's multiple artists? It could be something like that. Maybe they remix, I don't know. But they would have to bring the energy, but
yeah, no, I like Bad Bunny. I think it'll be
I think it's gonna be
exciting.
great. Yeah, I'll learn some lyrics so I can sing along, take some Spanish lessons.
What are
Last
you
but
gonna
not
learn?
least, again, missed opportunities. Um, I One more good news. This is a funny story. So NBA had their media day, which is essentially the start of the beginning of every pro sports season. They do media day. They take the player headshots. They do stuff, all the fun things you see on like the jumbotrons, where they tell you to scream and things like that. And at the Warriors media day, Steph was taking his photos, and there were 2 rookies standing, waiting kind of in line, and essentially, this is all caught on video, and it's rookie Chance McMillan essentially went viral for kind of waiting around, and finally someone goes, "He wants to take a picture with you," and Steph is like, "He ain't gonna ask." He's like, I was just waiting," and then he runs up, and he doesn't have his jersey tucked in, so he's, like, quickly trying to get situated, and Steph is like, "Delay of game," like, giving him a hard time. So
That's funny.
it was cute. And then there's a second rookie that goes, "Well, can I too?" And so then he goes in and
Oh,
gets a photo with Steph, and it was just so cute. Like, Steph is now like, there's a joke going around of, like, we've now hit the NBA Unk era. So Steph, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul. Chris Paul's 40. Um, LeBron's going into his 23rd year in the league.
that's
So
crazy.
we're yeah,
Rubbing
the
some
guys that
mesh
we
on
grew
it.
up with are old. But it was just a really endearing clip. Maybe we'll link it somehow. I don't know if I know how to do that, but, okay. Now, Ryder Cup.
Ryder Cup.
Talked about this on Monday's podcast that had some issues going live. So let's do a quick little recap of what happened in case you missed that, because you probably did. And then we can dive into the drama because, oh, there is some
A lot of
drama.
drums. A lot of
Um,
drums.
so Europe won. if you didn't hear the news, which is a huge deal because winning a Ryder Cup on opposing team territory, i.e., Europe winning in the US or US winning in Europe, is just it doesn't happen often. It hasn't happened, I think, since 2012.
Yeah, I think 10 years or so.
Yeah. And so it was a big deal. It was pretty much the same Europe team that won in Europe minus one player, but the one player swap was for a brother. So, like the guy they swapped was for brothers. So it's the same team on US soil. Rory had been talking a lot of shit heading into it. And but in like a good way of like, we're coming for you, we're like ready to go, we feel better than ever. And they dominated. So the first 2 days are what's called four ball and foursome. It's match play. So you're up against the other team playing kind of hole by hole. And at the end of each round of golf, you get 1 point for either winning the match altogether or not. And by the end of Friday and Saturday, Europe was up 11.5 to 4.5. And overnight, this was wild. Overnight, one of the guys on the Europe team, Victor Hovland, he woke up with like a really bad neck. Like he couldn't move his neck. So he
Story of
forfeit
my
his,
life.
I know. He actually went in and I think got an MRI. It was so bad. But he forfeit. And in forfeiting, it just is a tie. And if you tie a match, each team gets a half a point. So that half point immensely benefited Europe because then they're at 12 and US are at 5. You have to get it's first to 14. So Europe only needed 2 full points to win. And Sunday is single matchup. So you essentially pair players off one by one. You play a round of golf together. And at the end, whoever wins the match gets a point. The US came storming back and like crazy, crazy finishes. Both of the first 2 matches came down to the 18th hole for a birdie putt, and the U.S. put both of them away to get the points. Bryson DeChambeau had a huge comeback from 5 points down to tie, so only giving up a half a point. And then it just kind of kept going until essentially Europe ended up getting the half point needed. But in a very dramatic fashion, it came down to another to get the half point to tie. It came down to another birdie putt on the 18th. I was literally glued to the TV. Football had started, and I was like I couldn't turn the channel because it was like one of those ones of like, holy cow, are they actually going to be able to pull this off? And they did not. But it ended up being entertaining to watch, even though the first 2 days were pretty brutal. So drama on the course, but I think the big story's off the course.
Yeah, the drama was insane. So a lot of questions about fan decorum. There was drama between caddies and players. There was drama between teams. There was players and or fans and players' wives. So I think the biggest thing coming out of all of this is the fan behavior. We're seeing a lot of Rory. Like, I believe the last thing that I saw was that Rory will never participate in a United States tournament again. He was super heckled. So, like, he and his wife briefly announced that they were getting divorced, but now they're back together, and rumors that he was maybe seeing someone else at the time, all sorts of those relationship dramas. And he was just being heckled about it the whole time.
She was being heckled about it.
So, well, both of
Yeah.
them were.
Yeah. Which is
So, yeah,
10 up. Like, which is just so uncalled for. Like,
horrible.
I golf is an interesting sport because it's not necessarily like a loud sport, right? There's similar to kind of tennis, there's certain courtesies in playing the game that you give. So when you're at the actual ball, everyone's quiet and you have your moment to set up and hit the ball. There were so many instances of that not happening when people are lining up their putt, counting how many seconds it's taking them, which is like anyone up there would be taking just as long. But it felt more like the heckling of Europe from the US crowd was the main goal instead of cheering on the US
Yes.
team. And this has, I think, become, unfortunately, a trend in sports of, like, there's 2 ways really to cheer for your like, to support your team. One is to hate on the other team and try to be obnoxious and annoying, and the other is to do it the right way, in my opinion, and
Right.
support, cheer, try to lift them up and, make noise for them. We've seen it in the WNBA, fans that have been ejected for hounding players. Like, there's a ton of drama across all sports of fans on social media calling for coaches' heads after, like, single losses, demanding players are traded, especially with the blow up of gambling. There's college kids that are getting, like, harassed in their DMs and comments from people saying, "You lost me X money because you didn't hit a touchdown," or, like, all the drama.
Ah,
And it just feels like we've lost the plot.
for sure.
Like, that.
And
Yeah.
I I think it's unfortunate. I think it's an embarrassing show of sportsmanship. My question is, how is it gonna change future Ryder Cups? Next time it's on US soil, what is that gonna look like?
Yeah. Well, and personally, I thought it would be really cool to go to the Ryder Cup, and now it's not necessarily something that I would think that I would wanna go to. And I think it's in those environments, it can be hard because I think there is an okay amount of heckling. Like, I think there's the level of, the swing batter, 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 like, kind of more the traditional heckling where you're not saying derogatory things. You're still following the general courtesies of the game. For example, you're not yelling in the backswing, you're not, things of that sort. And depending on the sport, it's different. But I think there's this is just such a trend culturally. And for me, sports is the one thing that I feel like can bridge the gap between so many different types of people. And for it to kind of start to be moving in this direction where we're going to lose fans, we're going to push leagues and events and stuff into all these,
Yeah.
unwanted people aren't gonna wanna bring their kids then aren't gonna be playing, especially women, and so I think it just kind of brings up an interesting conversation that should be talked about more often, and I think I've said it before, I think leagues have responsibility for fan management, like, if people are doing this, they should be out. There needs to be some sort of like standard withheld from the event that's putting it on, whether that's a home arena or a golf tournament or whatever. Um, but I also think it's just like the discourse being had and talking about it. And I've seen this come up in many of the sports newsletters, and like I've seen one newsletter do it in a way where it's like, if you feel the need to partake in this, here are the steps you can take. Like, first, remember what it's like to be a player, and they kind of walk it through in kind of a
Yeah.
humorous way,
Uh-huh.
um, where it's, whereas I think we can say, no, this is wrong. You need to think about your life choices as a human, probably. Um,
Yeah.
but
So I think one good-ish thing that came after this is that, Heather McMahon, she's the one who started the FU chant as a commentator. Could you imagine if
it's at 7 a.m.
could you imagine in a different like, the commentator starting that chant? So she's been asked to step down or is stepping down or I don't know. But so that's, I think, one repercussion that has been seen and is, I don't know. Kind of side tangent. I did like how they had more like influencers, kind of different audiences um there and commentating and being a part of it, because I do think that that gave some exposure to new fan bases that maybe wouldn't necessarily be watching.
I agree. I think that they definitely were trying to make this a unique event, and it is a very unique event already. Um, but and I think that is the right path. I think it's more, how do you manage, day one, it wasn't as bad. Day two, it progressively, like, so how do you, at what point does the event need to step in, or the PGA, or the whatever, whoever, someone, one of these,
Right.
right?
Like, why wasn't there like security or like
And I think there's,
enforcers? Like, why, it's,
yeah, I think there started to be more, but I think it's
yeah,
something where you have to be so much more on it. Of, this, there's not a, it's not like a slap on the wrist through, three strikes you're out thing. It needs to be like a, you're cut, and people see that, and then they, yeah.
then they shut up. Yeah.
Um, but then also, for all of you predominantly men out there who were who think that this is the right way to cheer for your team, country, have a good think on why you feel that way. Unfortunately, I don't think you are listening to this podcast, but yeah, never know.
Uh, yeah.
Um,
And it's just, I mean, the group mentality, the or like mob mentality of just
yeah,
doing what other people are doing.
add alcohol.
It's a shame that that is now the headline coming out of Ryder Cup. Then it's not more of the game, the
Yeah,
sportsmanship.
I will say, and this is where I saw the Europe team celebrating. And if you're in Europe, you're a big soccer fan, most likely. Football is known to have chants and songs that are sung around each team. Each team has their own ones, and they rewrite the lyrics for the different players that are on the team at the time. It's a very different culture. And I did see clips of them singing, I think it was like maybe on the tour bus, and it seemed to be all of the guys and like Rory's wife, which I thought was also hilarious. And they were singing a bunch of songs. Some were about, and they were kind of like, we're better, like rub it in your face vibes.
Yeah,
But it was such different sentiment. Like, it's celebratory and it's fun and it has kind of that like poke the bear, but it's not like hateful and
right.
derogatory. And
It's still kind and
yeah,
like, yeah,
it, I mean, they called out Donald Trump in one. They like, one was about Rory, and they were to like some of the popular tunes. But I thought that like that's a good example of like, that's okay. Like, you should be able to do that. Anything else
yeah.
on Ryder Cup?
Did you just say Ryder Cup? It's the Ryder Cup.
Maybe they'll drop a new event in lieu of the Ryder Cup and name it the Ryder Cup, and it'll be
It's the
the,
Ryder Cup.
it's the fun Ryder Cup.
Is there a women's event that's similar to Ryder Cup?
You know, I don't know. And boy, would I be nervous to play in that if I was the girls right now.
Yeah.
There isn't a direct women's Ryder Cup, but the equivalent is the Solheim Cup, which is a biennial team event between Europe and the United States. The competition matches the 12 best players from Europe versus the 12 best players from the US. I think that sounds exactly like the Ryder Cup. What? This is AI.
It's just like a different organization, probably.
Yeah. Google's like answers sometimes are so bizarre.
Yeah.
I would be nervous to play in it if I were them, but maybe we'll go to that one. um, I feel like the fan stuff is is kind of an interesting segue into the WNBA because drama continues. There's a lot of controversial things happening in sports right now. The WNBA, we'll get into the actual finals and what's happening there. But I think first, let's dig into the big news, which is Napheesa Collier. If you haven't seen this yet, her exit interview dropped a major bomb on Kathy Engelbert, who is the current commissioner of the WNBA. Forgot what she was called. To understand this full kind of storyline, we're going to reverse a little bit, so bear with me. Napheesa Collier is one of the best players in the league. We've talked about her before as being a player on the link, star player, MVP candidate, et cetera, et cetera. Last year, she launched Unrivaled, which is the new women's 3v3 league. Her husband is the commissioner and like truly runs the league. So she has very much had firsthand experience of what goes on to build and like set up a league. Fast forward to about a week ago in Friday's game 3, Lynx versus Mercury in the semifinals. Final seconds of the game, there was a controversial foul call. Or I should say, there was a controversial non-foul call where Alyssa Thomas stole the ball from Napheesa Collier. And in doing so, she hits her leg and her landing then lands on her ankle. And I'm pretty sure she's completely torn some ligaments in her ankle and like really messed it up. So she goes down and there was absolutely no call. The ref called it clean. Head coach,
Should it? It was a bad call.
I think depending on who you talk to, it may or may not be a call. When you look at it, there's clearly significant contact of Alyssa Thomas and Napheesa Collier's legs hitting, which would not have happened had she not gone in for the steal. But it was also after kind of like it was like slightly after the ball had been stolen and more like their body. Like it's like so it's not like she went in and like smacked her arm or something where it's a little more obvious. The head coach Cheryl Reeves essentially lost her shit and was like all over the floor yelling at the refs like, are you kidding me? Napheesa's on the floor hurt. And eventually the refs give her a technical, kick her out. In the post-game press, essentially Cheryl Reeves called out the refs and called it like malpractice, blamed the league. She ended up getting an entire game suspension and could not be there for the game 5, or excuse me, the game 4, where the Mercury ended up winning. Napheesa obviously is also out for game 4. She also was slapped with the highest WNBA fine ever at $15,000. So that's like
Crazy.
some backstory, right?
Yep.
Not all of the other coaches, a lot of the prominent coaches also in press statements have agreed about Cheryl Reeves' statements and saying that the refs have been terrible. The league is not handling this. And many of them also, anyone that spoke out also got fined. So like most of the league is in support of what is being said by essentially the Lynx team at this standpoint. And then in Napheesa Collier's exit interview, so like wrapping up the season, they do kind of a whatever recap, and she sits down and she pretty much comes to the table and goes, I've prepared a statement. I'm going to read this before we get into any questions. And it's a good 4.5-minute long statement. And she essentially goes on to call out Kathy Engelbert, again, commissioner of the WNBA, and the entire like WNBA leadership team. These are some of the quotes. I think this is important to like get correct of what she says. Since I've been in the league, you've heard the constant concerns about officiating, and it has now reached levels of inconsistency that plague our sport and undermine the integrity in which it operates. Year after year, the only thing that remains consistent is the lack of accountability from our leaders. Our leadership's answer to being held accountable is to suppress everyone's voices by handing out fines.
Yikes.
At Unrivaled, and then she goes on. So there's like this whole talk about essentially the handling of the refs and the officiating and how that is the biggest issue in our sport. Like it's taking over everything. Fans don't like it. We don't like it as players, coaches. Everyone has seen it, yet they're not doing anything and just trying to shut us up. So I was like part of it. Then she goes on to say, at Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Kathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, three of the prominent recent rookies or second year players, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $60 million off the court because without the platform the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. In that same, and then it goes on, she goes, in that same conversation, she told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I just got them. This is just coming out as an 11-year media rights deal with USA, which is great. Awesome. She then continues to say, the league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them. And that we have the best players in the world. We have the best fans in the world. But right now we have the worst leadership in the world. So she pretty much like that was like one of the biggest quotes of we have the worst leadership in the world. So pretty much calling out one, the officiating needs to change. Players, she's mentioned not getting reached out to by Kathy about the injury. Other players have come out saying, like, I retired. Everyone else reached out. I still haven't heard from Kathy. I don't even think she knows I retired. Things like that are coming out. Most of the players, like, so many players have been like, yes, support this 100%. Angel said like 10 out of 10, no notes. It's pretty, yeah, pretty heavily supported.
Yeah.
Kathy responded pretty much saying, I'm committed to this league and I'm sorry she feels that way, in other words, but it was just like a 3-line. It was such a short comment. And then Caitlin Clark, no comment, which I thought was funny. But it's like essentially, I think the biggest piece is the league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because
Yeah.
of them. And that translates to this other looming thing that is happening, which is the collective bargaining agreement. And that expires on October 31st. Oh,
Wait,
essentially,
and what
there's
is that?
1 month for the players in the league to reach a deal. The collective bargaining agreement is essentially how the players are going to get paid. So, what percentage of revenue and like how that contract is set up to get them paid. And Kathy's been talking about like sustainability and this and that and like all this stuff. And Napheesa's whole thing is like, I've seen this firsthand, how to build a league and how to run it. And I know this is just being done so incorrectly. But yeah, there's 1 month. Essentially, if the deal doesn't get made, it's pretty much like a walkout, but there's no season happening. So TBD what that truly will look like. I'm not 100% sure. There was speculation. I did see something from Sports Illustrated that they were reporting from sources pre Napheesa's statement that Kathy may be on the outs already, due to inability to get the CBA done. So
Interesting.
I think this off season is going to be crazy for the WNBA.
Sounds like it.
I mean, it's not even there yet, and it already is.
Coach is going everywhere. Commissioner could be out. A lot of players need to heal.
Oh my God, yeah. So many. Do you remember me telling you about the coaches and the Dallas coach who was his first year, had a terrible season? He was like buddies with the GM and didn't have the resume. They finally let him go. And
Oh,
I think everyone, that is one, talking about the fan stuff, like I don't agree with like hate stuff, but he was not doing good. And I think the player, like it was clear he was not in the right role. And so yeah, they let him go. So Dallas is got another first round pick in like the draft this year, early pick. So they could have two young rookies and a new, hopefully much better head coach. So that's some good news ish. And then
has there been any what is the one coach who was ousted and we don't think that
New
she
York,
should have been?
yeah,
No,
New York. We won't hear anything about new coaches signing and whatnot till actual like season ends. So a couple more weeks, but
lame.
I think that there's going to be some quick things happen, and then there's going to be
Yeah.
some that trickle in later. Um, so yeah, Dallas could be an interesting one. And then getting to actually the finals, because we're not even in off season yet. The Aces won last night in game 5 overtime to make it to the finals. This is their third finals appearance in 4 years. They're aiming for their third championship in 4 years. And they're playing the previously mentioned Mercury. If you want a full preview, we dropped a post on Instagram. Go find it and follow us. We're not going to dig into everything, but it should be a really fun series. Both teams, I think, like, are going to, I mean, it's the championship. The biggest news there, not news, one of the exciting things in the championships is it is now a full 7-game format. So it went from 3 games, round 1, 5 games, round 2 semifinals, and then now it's 7. So it's best first to 4 games essentially, which is aligns with how the NBA does it. Hopefully players can stay healthy, but both teams have a pretty stacked roster. Both teams have some really young rising talent and some veteran talent. Most notably, Aces have Asia Wilson and Mercury have Alyssa Thomas. Both were Asia was MVP, but Alyssa Thomas was probably in third place there. And then another really exciting stat that I think is so cool because we love women doing cool shit. Becky Hammon, coach of the Aces, now has the highest playoff series win percentage of head coaches in both the WNBA and the NBA. She
That's
has
cool.
a 900 win percentage for series, so the entire series in the playoffs. Phil Jackson, famous head coach of many NBA teams, is .862. Steve Kerr, with the Warriors most recently, .857. And this is like you have to have a minimum of 10 series. I thought that was cool.
That is cool. Go Becky.
Oh, Becky. Yeah. NFL, there's only a couple of things I had notes on. There's a lot of stuff happening injury-wise per usual. Again, did a full recap on week 4 on the Monday recap pod, but Philly and Buffalo are 2 remaining undefeated teams. They go up against some interesting matchups. Philly plays the Broncos and Buffalo plays New England Patriots. Both are, I think, 2-2, but could be good games. So we'll see if we still have an undefeated team at the end of week 5.
What are those
Colts,
games?
Uh,
Oh wait, let's do who you think is gonna win.
Vibe picks. I mean, I need Philly to put some points on the scoreboard. I need Jalen. I want Jalen Hurts to win because he's my quarterback. And honestly, I hope they both stay undefeated. I think that it's high probability. I think Buffalo for sure will win. I think Philly has a higher percentage of losing because Broncos have a good defense. What do you think?
I have already lost in my brain who each of them is playing.
Fair.
I
Um,
I was trying to remember after I asked you, and then I was like, "Wait a
uh,
second."
who do you pick between Philly and the Broncos? Okay, I'll go Philly.
For no reason.
They're um coming off a win.
Punched my microphone.
And then Buffalo plays New England.
Hmm. What is the New England team name?
Sunday Night Football. Bills versus Patriots.
It's the New England Patriots? I think not the Patriots.
Bills. Josh
I think
Allen.
Bills.
Yeah.
Josh Allen shaved his beard.
Probably looks like a
No,
little.
I'm thinking of someone else. I'm thinking of,
I didn't think he had a beard.
Sam. Who's the hot one? Sam Hartman?
Oh, Sam Hartman. Yes, he did.
Woohoo!
I
Yeah,
like
shaved his
him.
beard.
He's not on a team right now.
What the fuck is he doing?
He's not that good.
Oh,
He could be good. He needs to do better. Him and Jimmy Garoppolo, very attractive men that I wish we could see running around the field every Sunday. It would be nice. Um, thank goodness for Instagram. The
wait, so what is he doing now?
trying to get on a team.
What a loser.
Uh, doing brand deals with that baby face.
Well,
I don't know. What do you do? It's a ex-pro athlete.
go into sales.
Um, oh my God. Okay. You're not wrong. I mean, honestly, brand deals is sales. So yeah,
Yeah, sales.
yeah, sales. Well, the other two stories that I think are like talk worth, chat worthy. What's the yap worthy? Other two
Yap
stories.
worthy.
Yeah, the other two stories that I think are yap worthy are Colts got their first loss. Yep. It came in pretty brutal of a situation. So Mitchell had a massive touchdown run, and as he's crossing the touchdown line at the pylons, he starts to celebrate and drops the ball.
Yikes.
Yeah. And I watched that and I like all I could think about was what Carly was writing down on her clipboard at that moment.
No celebrations.
And I think
I don't
I
think that's a bad representation of what I think she would actually write, because
I think that he would be like I think it would be when your parents were like disappointed in you. You didn't get
I'm
punished.
not mad,
I'm not
but I'm
mad,
disappointed.
but all I could think about was what was going on in her mind. What was going on the clipboard. So that was a bummer. They still look really good. Like I think that they are still doing really well. So I'm excited to keep watching them. And then the wildest finish, like that wasn't even, I think, the craziest thing that happened. The Green Bay Packers and our boy Micah returned to Dallas for the Sunday night game. And Jerry Jones did weird things. He was like on the pregame show talking about the trade and how it worked and how he needed to pay other people and kind of I don't know. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I just remember looking up being like, why is he on the pregame show? Like you never see I don't know, I just thought it was odd. And then he had this full, like, pre-filmed little special that dropped before the game started. It was like a little, almost like commercial before the game of like a
Of
little mini
him?
interview of him talking about it. I think they like did some stuff with Micah, but it was more Micah clips, I feel like, and him like normal player stuff, not but I don't know, I just thought the Jerry Jones part was interesting. And I think he's
And, like, it feels late. Like, is he just trying to, like, boost his rep again?
yeah,
Gain, like, another
I don't know.
favor?
But the game ended in a tie.
The NFL can end in a tie? Hate that.
I feel like most people don't know that that can happen. Essentially, they went into overtime and they both kicked field goals, but the time ran out. And at the end of the 10 minutes, the NFL cuts off overtime because they want to minimize injury risk and like playing for another 10, yeah, just continuing to go
Yeah.
could be detrimental. Yeah, but Cowboys to get to overtime, Cowboys I missed this part. Cowboys returned a blocked field goal for a touchdown. So there was another blocked field goal return, which I don't doesn't happen that often, and I feel like we've gotten so many in the last couple weeks. So it was kind of a wild return. Cowboys don't look terrible. Micah did not play well. He only had 1 sack, but that sack was, I think, the decider of them either, like, losing or tying. So, I think he was pretty pivotal in making sure they still got what would be a point in soccer. That's not how this works, but yeah, he didn't play great. I kind of feel like I don't know, so many things going on probably, but also Dallas knows him.
They do.
You know? No, they're not scared of him. They're buds. Um, so yeah, everyone's happy. Everyone won. I just thought that was wild that it ended in a tie, and I
That
knew
is crazy. I don't
you
like
wouldn't.
that. I don't like that fact, and I would like to petition to
Yeah.
change it.
It's interesting they prevent
Working.
more time, but there's other things happening that like, there's a whole issue. Malik Neighbors got injured, and everyone's calling out at MetLife Stadium in New York. They have turf, and all the players are essentially like, there's more injuries that happen on this turf. Like, it's very common to happen on the turf, and it's like you'll cut overtime off and end in a tie to, like, prevent injury, but you'll let us play on something that's, like, proven to be bad. So,
Right, like, I'm suspicious of the reasoning. It
I
probably
mean,
has to do with airtime and, like,
I was
and
happy the game it's freaking late over here.
well, yeah, and it
I gotta go to bed.
but I feel like I don't buy it. I don't trust them.
Yeah. I mean, it's the NFL. Can't really trust anyone. Only other thing, MLB playoffs. We're officially October baseball. Wild card is happening as we speak. I actually have the
I know,
game
yeah.
going on. We are guaranteed 3 third games. The LA, Cincinnati, and Dodgers, Cincinnati Reds and Los Angeles Dodgers are playing right now. LA is up 1 game, and they're up right now in the top of 7th. It's not looking good for the Reds, so they might be able to secure their spot in the next round. But all of the other 3 games, Cubs versus Padres, so Chicago Cubs, San Diego Padres, and then Red Sox Yankees, which is a fun one. That is now tied 1-1. And then Detroit Tigers and Cleveland Guardians also tied 1-1. So 3 games tomorrow to determine who moves forward. And then we go into the more traditional playoff format where they go back and forth and they play 5 games. And this is the like quick little series to just get in. But the big story, the Mariners got the 1 seed, and so they had a bye. I'm rooting for the Mariners and the Cubs, which could be
Those are
fun.
your teams?
Right now they are. LA will win. I want the Phillies to beat LA so that the Cubs don't have to take LA. The Cubs win, they play Milwaukee Brewers,
Mm,
which will be fun because it's,
yeah, rivalry.
yeah. And then winner of Cleveland Detroit plays Seattle. Want Seattle on that. And then winner of New York Boston. Well, if you want Detroit, that's fine, but they got to win tomorrow to even get there.
You're already calling Cubs for the final.
I'm just saying, those are the teams I'm rooting for. Yeah. They're on opposite sides of the bracket, so it could happen, which would be cool. And if that happens, I think I'm Mariners all the way. They haven't won anything so long.
We love an underdog.
I know. They're not necessarily underdog right now, but I feel like they're just like but they're like,
That was misleading.
no, but like in the last like history of the like MLB, like last handful of years, they're an underdog. I feel like they're very much this like upswing, not necessarily just this season, more like last 10 years, long-term underdog.
So they're just bad.
They used to be. I think the Mariners used to hold some crazy stat of longest playoff drought. And then they made the playoffs, but
I
they
thought that was
didn't.
the Cubs.
I think then it was the Mariners.
I'm just talking shit. I don't.
I know. Mariners have never been to the World Series in their 48-year existence. So maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Losers.
Underdogs. Anyways, MLB baseball is happening. MLB playoffs is happening. That we should watch. That's fun to go. I don't know. We'll see.
I know one of my friends is going to tomorrow's game to see the Cubs.
I thought about that. I don't know. Can't swing it. It's busy week.
For that.
But if they make it, maybe we can. I don't know, I imagine tickets are going to be absurd, but maybe we can find some.
We could.
Chicago
I was.
Cubs.
I was gonna say we could brave the just the Wrigleyville area, but that
Yeah. I think just a sports bar would be a better option outside of. Yeah. If I'm not going to the game, we don't need to venture up there.
very good. I would do it for you, and that's just about all that I would do.
You can come to. We can just watch it. You can even they come over and watch it. We don't even have to go out.
Even better.
Yeah, we got options. That is a wrap. We'll see you next Thursday.
See you next Thursday.